everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here today at the webinar called How to Go from Sleepwalking to Being Awakened. My name is Abby. I work with Sophie, and it is such a privilege today to be able to introduce Sophie and also give you just a couple of guidelines for the webinar. So the first thing is that the chat is open. Please feel free to comment, ask questions, whatever you need. There's a little small box at the bottom where you can put any comments or questions that you might have. And I will interrupt Sophie and ask your questions or say your comments for you throughout the webinar. The other thing to note is that we are recording today, but the only faces that you will see in the recording are mine and Sophie's. So if you do unmute to speak, your face won't be seen. So it is my absolute privilege today to introduce Sophie McLean. Sophie is a wisdom teacher. She has spent decades leading transformational seminars to over 80,000 people. I'm going to read a little blurb to you because it's so fabulous and I don't want to mess up the wording. So here it goes. Sophie has been a helicopter pilot, a designer, a relief worker, a war refugee, and a CEO. She's been shot at, shipwrecked, and she's been widowed. She has lived on a farm, on a boat, in a penthouse, and in an ashram. She has 2 master's degrees in philosophy. She's worked with the United Nations. She's written a book, and she's currently working on her 2nd and 3rd book at the same time. And 5 years ago, she started her own company, Access to Awareness. So I'm going to welcome Sophie onto the screen today, and thank you all so much for being here.
Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the webinar. There is a lot of you that I know, and I'm delighted to see you. And there is some that I do not know, and I'm delighted to get to know you. And again, I do not mind being interrupted. So please, if you have any question or if you're confused about something, go to the chat. I love having this kind of conversation versus speaking for an hour, right? It's like without interacting with you. So I was thinking about how to, Abby, thank you for the presentation. You know, your life, when you list your life like that, it sounds just great, right? But I wanted you, if you don't know me, to have an experience of me. So I thought I would share how I shifted from sleepwalking to being awakened. The moment, the turning point in my life. And by sharing myself, I ask you to see if you had one of those moments in your life, or if you need to create one, not with the same circumstances that I'm going to share, but if you need to wake up or not. So imagine my life. I'm living in England, in Oxford, and I am madly in love with, truly, you know, I know the expression is a bit overused, soulmate, but he was called Murray, and we never fought. It's like we knew each other, right? So it was total bliss, and we choose to get married after a few years together. I didn't need to get married, but Murray wanted to get married, right? So we get married, we have a magical day at the wedding, and off we go to the other end of the world, Mauritius, a small island, on honeymoon, right? So day 5 of the honeymoon. So everybody, I hope you had those trips in your life. You know, it's bliss, right? You're so much in love, you feel so lucky, and everything is great, and you tell each other that you love each other about 50 million times a day. And I'm in a car with Murray, and there is a driver, and we're off to see a plantation of pineapples, because Murray wanted to grow pineapples and avocado, and I wanted to do an orphanage on this island. And I'm in the back seat, and suddenly I feel the coldest, darkest, frightening feeling ever. I can't describe it any other way. And I was looking at the sea. I turned to Murray, right? In nearly panic. And I said, "Are you okay?" And he looked at me with his beautiful blue eyes, a great smile. He said, "I'm so happy. There is so many good things we can do here to help." So I'm quieting down. I'm looking out of the window at this beautiful blue sea. For a few minutes, I turned back. Murray was dead. Dead. He had a clot to the brain, and he just went in less than a minute. Well, I don't think I need to put it into words, right? The despair, the horror, the shock, the grief, the pain. I mean, anything you imagine, I felt, right? And it lasted, this despair, the bottom of the despair lasted for a few years. I had nothing to look forward to. I had absolutely no interest in being alive. Zero. Right? And it is very hard to go on through the day when you spend your entire day wishing you were not alive. And what's that? The bottom, the peak of despair is what had me awakened. And why I chose to engage in the path of awakening is because Murray's death even disappeared my sleepwalking. There was just nothing. But it was such horrible nothing that I had to look for something else, right? And that is how I started to the awakening. A few years later, I met somebody, and in one conversation that lasted a few days, 3 days exactly, but it was the same conversation, I woke up. That man altered my life forever. I was by then 33, and I never looked back. I'm now 62. All those years, all I have done is teach people the way to go from sleepwalking to awakening. Now, you don't have to have a tragedy to wake up. That's what I want to tell everybody. Just please, please, please don't wait for a tragedy. I didn't do it the elegant way, if you see what I mean. It's like life just said, you shall wake up, and smack, and I had to, right? So why am I creating all my courses and my seminars is so that people can wake up with ease and grace, fun, relatedness, a conversation, and get the same extraordinary results, but without the pain of the tragedy. So I live now a life of freedom, total freedom. I do not suffer anymore. I want you to take a little time to imagine what it is to have a life without suffering. I have pain, I have anger, I have emotions. I do not suffer. And that is really, really exquisite. So this call, I've put this the webinar together so that I can put you on the road to awakening, okay? And I'm going to give you 3 what I call secrets, because it's secrets, but I'm not keeping them secrets. I'm giving them to you today, right? But people don't know about them. So I'm going to take you through 3 different secrets so that you can start understanding what I mean by going from sleepwalker to awakening. To do that, I'm going to show you a PowerPoint. Okay, so if you allow me, because I'm not very good with the technical thing, but I am going to manage. I am sure I'm going to manage. All right, I'm going to share my screen. You don't see my screen, right? No. Abby, what do you see right now?
I still see you, Sophie.
You still see me. All right. So I go to share screen.
Yep.
Desktop. All right, let me see. Okay.
I
You
can see your
ours.
desktop.
Okay. Okay, and now?
Now,
now
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint. Okay, where is my PowerPoint? Now, do you see that?
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Good. And now
That's it?
make it full screen. Yep, we can see it.
Full screen. All right, is that good?
Yep, great.
Okay, and do you still see me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Now,
we're doing it.
Okay, I can lead the webinar, but this technical thing I do not like. All right, so this is my presentation. And I have put this sentence on the screen: the time has come to create a new culture for humankind. It really is the context for everything I do. As you know, the world is in a systemic crisis, and I believe that it really is time to wake up. This is what will bring peace to our world. So I'm going to, the first secret is about the myth of the creation of human beings. Now, it is absolutely absurd to put the design of human being in a PowerPoint. I want you to know that I know that. I am not pretending this is the truth. I had to have a visual aid, and that is all it is. It is simplified. It is not the whole story. There is much more than that, but at least you'll get an idea. So I want you to consider that there are 3 dimensions inside of which we operate. There is the first one that I want to talk about is the dimension that I call the spiritual dimension. So the spiritual dimension is very difficult because it is to talk about, because it is a total mystery. We do not know where we come from. We do not know where we're going. We can't even talk about it because it's a mystery. So go and talk about the content of a mystery. You can't talk about it. As far as I'm concerned, your relationship to the spiritual dimension is really personal. It is your own creation or intuition. It is, some people call it different words. You can call it the chi, Atman. Oh, no, sorry. I went too far. Sorry. You can call it, why isn't it coming up? Hang on. You can call it the divine. Well, sorry, I have a slide missing. So you can call it the divine, you can call it light, you can call it God, you can call it love, you can call it energy, you can call it consciousness, right? Many people have different names for that spiritual dimension. I call it the divine because it works for me. And again, I'm not going to say much more than that because I can't. It's a mystery. Okay, so that's the first dimension called the spiritual dimension. Then there is another dimension outside of time, still outside of time, that where intelligence resides. So you could say that that's where the soul or the chi or Atman or consciousness or essence are. Intelligence, if you think that they are angels, if you think, I don't know, that they are beings, guides, that is where they are. I don't see the PowerPoint anymore. So sorry. I've done something. What do you see, Abby?
Hi, Sophie. I see your Word document.
Where is my PowerPoint? There. All right. So this is the what I call the quantum dimensions. Okay, so it's I see it like outside of time and space, like a school to go to the divine. It's very difficult. You can't imagine it because there is no image you can have of it, but you can actually have an experience of it. So everybody, if you will do this exercise with me just for a second, I would like you to close your eyes. Everybody just close your eyes, really just for 20 seconds. Close your eyes, and I want you to look at your life from the moment you were born until today. And look at it like you're looking at a fast forward movie, right? Like really fast. Or everything that happened to you, all your joy, all your sadness, where you lived, your houses, if you got married, divorced, your jobs, your absence of job, your studies, right? Look at everything, like all the happening in your life. See how busy it is, how noisy it is, how full it is. Okay, from the moment you're born until today. Now, keep your eyes closed. Behind all this noise, behind all this busy happening, there is you, never changing, always the same, constant, whatever your age. That presence in the background is always the same, never changed. Okay, that is your soul and your essence. Okay, you can come back. So you have much more access to the quantum dimension than you have to the spiritual and divine dimension. It is easier for us humans to actually relate to them. And then there is a third dimension, and the third dimension is life as we know it, right? So it is in this time and space, it's physical, you can measure it. We have a body, we are human, this is the third dimension. Okay, so if you have a question or if you're confused, don't forget the chat. So far, what we've seen is 3 dimensions, the divine, the quantum, and the material dimension. Okay, so now we're going to put human beings. So they are the 3 dimensions. You have the spiritual dimension, you have the quantum dimension with the soul, the essence, consciousness, and you have time and space, right? So humans, where are they? Human beings. Here we go. Sorry. There is a divine. There is a quantum that I represented it with a circle. There is a material, I represented it with the earth. And here is human. Human being are definitely located in the material dimension, but look where I put your head. I put your head in the quantum dimension as a representation of being connected to your soul. Okay, so we are incarnated in a body, but this is not who we are. We are connected to the soul as humans. Now, I just want to touch briefly on the brain because a lot of people have questions about the brains and all that. I want you to consider your brain as a terminal from the divine and the quantum, right? So there is a divine dimension, the quantum dimension, and all those energy come to your brain, and your brain translates those energies into actualization in the material plane, into action, into language, into your human. So you want to consider your brain like a terminal. You know, when people are brain dead, they cannot communicate. They cannot function on the material plane, right? So I'm inviting you, and there is, of course, much more to say about the brain, but I'm inviting you to look at your brain as a terminal from the divine and the quantum. All right, so let's go back to human beings. There is the circle is a quantum, the cloud is a divine, this is the earth, this is you, and that is called being. Being what? Well, being alive, right? You are connected to the quantum dimension inside of a body on a beautiful planet. If we stayed that way, we would be in the Garden of Eden. It would be bliss. We would love each other, connect with our soul, be connected with the divine, and everybody will love each other, and it will be just really great. Unfortunately, this is not how life works. We are not just being alive. Look at your experience of being alive. Look at what's happening in the world. You are the person that is red. That's who you really are. But what has happened is that you have put an armor around yourself to protect yourself, to survive. So you're going to ask me, why did I do that? Why do I need to survive, right? Well, look at what surviving is. Surviving, you don't need to survive a butterfly. When you look at a butterfly flying around you, you can look at the beauty of the movement of its wing, at the color, you are present, it's marvelous, you are being. But if I remove the butterfly and put a rhinoceros, you would protect yourself. You will either attack or withdraw or freeze. You will find a way to protect yourself, and that is what surviving is. This shell that you see on the screen, this protection that we have created is called the ego. You can also call it your character, your identity, your persona, or your personality. Now, let me just stop the sharing for a second. Again, if you have questions, just don't hesitate to put them on, okay? So you can see that there is an enormous difference between being alive, being present, connected to your soul, self-expressed, safe, that is called being awakened, and being inside of the surviving mode, which is being the sleepwalker, right? A sleepwalker can walk, apparently they can even cook and do all sorts of things, but they're not aware, they're not present. why is it a problem to be inside of that armor? It's because you identify with who you are not. I can't tell by watching your faces if you're following me or not.
So can you
yeah.
repeat what you just said? I didn't hear it because it went out. What did you
Okay.
just?
And what did I just say? I just said, why? So I just said, are you clear about the state of the sleepwalker is the image? Okay, I think I must go back to the PowerPoint. Should I go back to the PowerPoint? Hang on. No? Tom says no. Okay. The being awake, right, is obviously still being a human, still having a character, still being present, still functioning in life, still having an ego, right? You need to have a character to be able to function as a human. Right? But being a sleepwalker is when you have an armor, a protection that is not who you are. And you think this is who you are. So just let yourself experience what I'm saying. If you think you are something that you are not, can you see that there will be consequences? You are actually relating to an illusion, thinking it's reality. And there are consequences. So let's make it easy for you. Just if you have a pen and a paper, just write it down for me. What do you identify with? Do you identify with your nationality? Like as if it was the truth? I am an American, I am French? Or is it just a quality that was created by humans? Are you identifying with your age, your gender, your status in life, the titles you have or you have not? Are you identifying with your bank account, with your weight, with your job? Some of you, are you identifying with being a nice person or a hard worker or somebody with a sense of humor? You know how we say, well, no, I'm just nice. No, I'm just strong. Do you actually identify? Do you think that really is the way you are? Did you ever find a gene that says this one is strong? Do you identify with your car? I had somebody that nearly lost his life because he identified with his car and didn't want to leave it behind in a riot. Do you identify with the size of your home, with your friends, or with the absence of friends? All right, even more deep. Do you identify with your views, your opinions, your judgment, your thoughts? Do you actually believe your thoughts? Do you actually believe your opinions, your fears, your fantasies? All those you are not. You know, if I was at a dinner party and I was just meeting you and I said, and who are you? You would list, what you would say to me is a list of what you identify with. Oh, yes, I'm married, or no, I'm divorced, I'm single, I'm widowed.
Sophie, a quick question from Ivory. She wonders, or they wonder, what do you mean by identify?
So identify is like you put your focus. So imagine, let's see, how can I explain it the best? Okay. here is two objects, right? And imagine this is me, and this is an object. This is a command, a TV command or whatever. All right. I'm here and there is a TV command. If I think my value, my raison d'être, my identity is that TV command, I have identified with it. Okay. So for example, if I say, I am a wisdom teacher and I believe it, right? My title, the title I gave myself is a wisdom teacher. So I'll say, I am a wisdom teacher. If I start believing it, it's like, oh, were you born a wisdom teacher? Is it your soul? No, I made it up. It was a really nice title, but I've had it for 5 years. That's it. I made it up, right? So I'm totally free. I can stop being a wisdom teacher anytime I want because I don't identify with it. But when Murray died, I identified with being his wife, right? So not only did I have to deal with the pain of his death, but I didn't know who I was anymore because what I identified with was being Murray's wife. Okay? So there is an enormous cost to identifying with something that you are not. I'm going to give you some list of cost of being a sleepwalker. See the one that resonate with you, because those are the symptoms that you are related, identifying with something that is not you. Okay, so if you feel agitated in life, that's one of the symptoms. Disgusted, troubled, or reactive. If you feel burnt out and depleted, like exhausted, that's another symptoms of sleepwalking. If you are lonely and miserable and heartbroken, another symptom. If you have regrets, remorse, you feel really fragile, same thing. Symptoms of the sleepwalker. If you are envious, comparing yourself, jealous, yearning for what you don't have, you're sleepwalking. You're identifying with something that is not you. If you're depressed, discouraged, disheartened, hopeless, disconnected, same thing. Suspicious, worried, all those people that believe the conspiracy theory and get really agitated and afraid and apprehensive and frightened and distrustful, you are identifying with something that is not you. That's huge cost. I could go on and on and on and on and on. Those are the symptoms of sleepwalking. And most human beings can't even imagine a life of ease and joy nearly constantly. So it's not possible. You're an idealist. You are like in woo-woo land. No. All right, so my second secret, what happened? Well, why did we go from being awake to being a sleepwalker? What happened? What happened, right? So the why it happened, I can't tell you. I'm obviously not privy to the reason there is a school the way it is, okay? But as soon as I know it, I promise I'll tell you. But for the moment, I have no idea. But I know for having spoken to so many people what happened with every single one of my students. So I want you to imagine it, okay, everybody? This conversation will only make a difference if you let yourself really experience it for yourself. So imagine you're born, you're a soul, right? So imagine yourself, you're this beautiful soul full of light and love and all that, and you decide, oh, time to go to Earth School to learn love. Okay, so off we go, we create everything and we incarnate. So you see little babies, right? I don't know about you, but I love little babies because they are just present, right? There is no ego, there is no character, there is no identity. You've never looked at a little baby saying, oh, a little perfectionist, oh, a little one with a sense of humor. No, there is nothing. There is an essence, which is absolutely delicious. And you're waiting to see what will come out of that little one, right? All right, so far, so good. And then very, very soon after our birth, like within a year or two, max, something happens. Doesn't have to be tragic or anything, right? But something happens. And for the first time in your life, first time, you have enough awareness to realize you do not know what is happening. You have never encountered anything like that. It doesn't have to be anything big. For the little one, it is the first awareness of not knowing. That is the switch. And fear arises because now you don't know. You have crossed the boundaries of the known. And fear is absolutely the natural, logical emotion that arises. Life is now dangerous. And what do you do in front of danger? You survive. Now, here's the problem. In the moment fear rises and you shift into survival, at that very moment, you forget who you really are. And I really want to, you know, in my experience of all my students, that moment is so, I want you to experience, it's like ripping your heart out of your chest. You disconnect from the quantum reality and from the divine. And you only now look at the material dimension, and you are now left to manage, strategize, dominate, force the external world so that you can survive. You are now ignorant, uncertain. You don't know who you are. You have cut yourself off from the divine and the quantum. The only thing left for you is the external world and false identification. And every single of the 80,000 people I personally trained went through the same event. It doesn't matter if you don't remember it. You will if you take my course, but it doesn't matter if you don't remember it. You went through it. I know I haven't spoken to 6 billion people, but 80,000 of all nationality, walk of life, age, I can say it's the design of human being. All you have to do is look at your life. Don't you always want to know? Don't you try to control everything so that you can have certainty? It started very young. Looking to the external world to try to find a place where you feel are on solid ground. But the problem with those identification is that you tether yourself to what you think you know, you identify with it, you attach to it, and the moment you do that, you forget who you really are. You're not alive. You are in survival. And then you are left trying to manage the world that unfolds in front of you in order to try to feel as safe as you can. And that survival stops you from experiencing reality and who you really are. And ultimately, it causes an enormous amount of suffering because you're no longer able to see the truth of life. That's it. You can't see it. Now, does it have to be that way? Are you going to spend your entire life that way? Why do you see I gave the last 30 years of my life to teach people, there is me. You can be free. You want to experience who you really are, not who you think you are. And that's my second secret. Okay? And then the third one is, well, how do I get awake now that I have really described the sleepwalker? How do I get awake? You know how many of us are frightened? I'm not anymore, but frightened of death, and we have to die, and we'll all die, and okay, we have to accept it and not think about it too much. Well, in fact, you will never die because who you are is your soul. So you'll never die. You don't have to worry about that because you were never born, right? You are your soul. Who you really are is your soul. You just need an experience of it to remember it. But the thing that has to die while you're alive, your human is alive, is your ego. The ego you have created from the age of 1 or 2, that protection, that survival mechanism, that armor needs to go. That is what is called being awake. It doesn't make you perfect, by the way. You have past attacks and egoic attacks and all that, but you are awake. You have shifted from being a sleepwalker to being awake. Life is very different. You know the experience of being awake, everybody? I live on an island in the Mediterranean. So the island, there is a lot of weather, right? Sometimes we have enormous storms and the sky gets all black and it's wind and it's like being on a boat. It's such a small island and it's like, oh, you feel like the storm is on you. And then suddenly it breaks. You know, when the sun comes through the clouds and the storm goes away, and then you look at the island and it's like it has been washed. It's like everything is shiny, the light is brighter and the colors are stronger and you can breathe again. Okay, that's the experience of awakening. Same world, but the storm is gone. You now have the sun back. So if you want to live life, not dreading the circumstances and how you're going to cope in life, that is the path to take. And it seems to be not the reason, but it seems to be the purpose of a school. Right? If we are sent to school, and Earth is a very advanced, very difficult school to be in, only for the very advanced soul, it is really to remember who you really are so you can be aligned with yourself. Because life, everybody, okay, I'll give you a fourth secret, but very quick. You know, when you are filled with joy and happiness, like you're in love, or you got the job of your dream, or you have a new house or whatever, when you really, really well, you know how good your body functions. You look good and you have a lot of energy and you can do millions of things and you just like, well, right? Even your body's good, you know? But you know, when you're unhappy and worried and anxious, then, oh, your face looks, everything is written on your face, right? And you can even get sick, or you drink too much, or you eat too much, or you have too much sex, or you smoke, or you do drugs, or you work too hard, right? Because there is this unhappiness and you're trying to fill a void, right? And your body will break down. Your hormones will get triggered and not work as well. So life is about being happy. That is your normal state of being. How do I know it? Because your body works well when you are happy and joyful. You know, look, I'm 62-year old. I don't look that bad for 62-year-old people. I say to everybody, awakening is better than plastic surgery. Save some money and come and find some happiness. That's what life is about. It's literally about bliss. So I'm grateful about what happened to me. People find that really weird, right? When I say, no, I'm grateful that at 28, I went through this tragedy. I mean, obviously, I'm not, yay, Murray died, how marvelous, right? That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm grateful with what happened because it threw me into awakening. So I'm grateful. I'm just grateful that I woke up. And that's why I'm inviting you to do my course. I'm not grateful for his death. I'm grateful for the gift of awareness it allowed in my life. Awareness is the ultimate power. So there is so much more I could tell you, but I see I've spoken a lot. If you have questions, put it on. We have 10 minutes left, and I want to make sure that I answer some questions if you have some. But let me tell you about the course I would like you to participate in. Ask any questions you have or answer any queries, anything that left you confused. Or Abby, is there any questions?
Hi, Sophie. Jackie is just asking how many people are in the course or will be in the course.
Well, it depends on you, right? It depends how many people will register. But I keep my course quite small. Normally it's around 20 people because I get to everybody. Okay. Any other questions?
Anyone else? You're very welcome to put it in the chat or even on mute if you just want to talk. You're very welcome to.
Yes, Sophie, this is good timing for me. And we've been together several times, right? Through courses.
Yeah.
Is that the pickle I think many fall into, and this is where I am in terms of the deadening, is my dream is to do one thing and to write books in my area about purpose, but I need money now. So I'm kind of selling my soul to do this business stuff, which is not me at all. It's just not, and it's killing me. I've signed up with a consultant who's teaching me business stuff, and I hate it, and I'm bad at it. So it's killing me.
Yeah, Teresa, you know, and then you get to the stage saying, okay, I've tried everything that I know how to do, right? I can teach myself, I can spend money and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to, I mean, you don't have to, but I'm inviting you to come to the stage saying, okay, I need outside input. This is why teachers are here. I need to see something that I'm blind about, that I can't even think about. Do you know how I resolved my marketing issue? Teresa, I had such a problem with having started my business for 5 years. I could not say what I said to you today about that's a price and I want you to do it. It couldn't come out of my mouth. So if you don't invite people to dance, They're not going to dance, right? If I don't invite you to come for dinner in my home, you're not going to just show up saying I'm here for dinner.
Right.
I didn't go and train myself in a marketing seminar. I didn't go and pay somebody to do the marketing. I looked at my miss and identification, and I got free.
Mm.
Right? So come. I keep the price right down for that purpose. Don't let it pass you. The worst that can happen is I bore you for 14 sessions, but you know, nobody ever called me boring, right? So come.
No, I know you.
Come, Teresa, I would love to have you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I miss you, by the way.
Oh, good. Thank you. I love seeing you here. Okay, everybody going once? Hey, Ginger. Going twice? Okay, well, I want to thank Abby and Clive. They have supported me so much for putting this webinar together. I'm really grateful for the support and expertise they provide. And for all of you, I want you to know that I never, ever, ever take it for granted that you will spend an hour out of your day to listen to a French woman so committed to awakening. I appreciate it. You give a meaning to my life. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Ivory has a quick question before we go.
Yeah, sure. Where is Ivory?
Hi, Ivory. I'll ask you to unmute. Does that help? Let's see.
Mute. Has that worked?
Yep,
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
We
I
can hear
see
you.
We learned from the very beginning of time what my name is, where I live. So it's like we're constantly being given that from the beginning of time.
Yes.
So you're saying, or what I hear you say is we let go of all that. And I am nothing. And I am nothing. Am I a woman? I can't, I think, I'm a woman. I mean, I can't help identifying with things.
You can. So the experience, Ivory, I love your question, by the way. It is exactly why people think it is impossible, right?
Yes.
I have the body of a woman. I enjoy the experience of being a woman. I enjoy many things, right? I enjoy being a human, being incarnated as a human. I actually enjoy it about 1 trillion times more than when I was asleep, because I can enjoy the whole play and game and dance, right? So there is a French mystic. The only thing you need to experience, not know, but experience. Here's a quote from Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. He said, "You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience."
Yes.
That is the awakening. The moment you are having a human experience, you can play.
Uh-huh.
Do you see?
Clear.
Yeah, you
Love
got it. I think you got it. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. All right, everybody. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you very much for being here. And I hope to see you around the campus. It starts next week, so don't procrastinate. And before midnight tonight, if you want my gift. Bye, everybody. I'll let you go off.
Thank you.